Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kavika and I am the Squared Circle Scholar, and today I will be giving my predictions on AEW's Full Gear. Before we get into the predictions, let me know down below who you think will be winning at Full Gear. For the first match, we have the Casino Gauntlet Match to crown the first AEW National Champion. Now, we already know for this match who the first two spots are, the first being Bobby Lashley and the second, Shelton Benjamin. Now, this is an awesome opening contest for this Casino Gauntlet match just because these guys are tag team partners. They know each other inside and out when it comes to in-ring work, and they both like hurting people. This is just going to be, as JR would say, a good old slobber knocker. Now, it's hard to say who's going to be a part of the Casino Gauntlet match because of how expansive AEW's roster is. It's not like it's WWE where they have Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and within those three, they're already limited. AEW has such an expansive roster between Dynamite, Collision, Ring of Honor. They bring in people from New Japan all the time. They bring in people from Mexican wrestling companies. It could literally be anybody in this match. So I'm expecting to see a lot of storylines play out within this Casino Gauntlet match, like things from the Don Callis family. Maybe they're going to bring in people that are in matches, later on the show, like Darby Allin and Pac. They have a match on this card, but they could also be in the Casino Gauntlet match for all we know. Maybe we see somebody like Swerve Strickland, who we haven't seen in a while. Maybe Adam Page, for some reason, will join in, even though he's the AEW World Champion. You just never know. Although I do think we all know it's going to be either one of two people, and I think it's either going to be Okada or Takeshita, because this whole Don Callis family thing has to implode sometime for one of the two. And it looks like it's going to be Takeshita leaving the Don Callis family as opposed to Okada. I think this is a great way to work in the storyline between Takeshita, Okada, and the Don Callis family, because Okada is already the unified champion, and then you make Takeshita the national champion. I mean, Okada seems like he wants those mid-card titles all to himself. He wants to be the guy within the Don Callis family. So it would make sense to put it on Takeshita, make Okada a little jealous, and they already dislike each other. So I think that's just putting more breadcrumbs to the finale between Takeshita and Okada, maybe for both titles, both the Unified and National Championship. So if that is the case, if that does happen, this is just me kind of, booking for myself. Takeshita wins, so that way we get the eventual Takeshita versus Okada for both titles, or maybe just the national title. Next on the card, for the TNT Championship, we have champion Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. Sticking with the Don Callis theme for just a little bit, if Mark Briscoe wins, he becomes the new TNT champion. Awesome, Mark Briscoe. But if he loses, he has to join the Don Callis family, the people that nobody likes. I mean, except for maybe Takeshita and Okada, like kind of ironically, because he's just kind of not the kind of straight-faced guy that he's supposed to be. I don't see how they could work Mark Briscoe into being part of the Don Callis family storyline wise, unless they just make him like this guy that goes and gets beat up for the Don Callis family, so that way other people in the Don Callis family could win. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe they can make it work. Maybe I'm just not seeing the brighter picture at the end of that, if that were to happen. So I do think Mark Briscoe is going to become our new TNT champion, which will lead Kyle Fletcher into going for maybe the AEW World Championship, maybe moving over to Ring of Honor, doing something different, getting out of this mid-card scene, and maybe trying to boost the Don Callis family into the main event picture. Because we got Okada. If Takeshita wins the championship, then you have Kyle Fletcher. You see what I'm trying to do there? Kyle Fletcher is definitely the star of the Don Callis family. Like, he's the one that seem like they're putting most of their eggs into. So it doesn't make sense to bring in Mark Briscoe to just be, fodder to whoever Kyle Fletcher's facing probably. Let's give Mark Briscoe the title, let him run that mid-card division for a little bit, and let's elevate Kyle Fletcher to the main event scene. Make him a proper main eventer. Next on the card, we have John Alexander and the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express. So in the last two matches I just talked about, I technically have the Don Callis family losing, even though Takeshita is a part of the Don Callis family. He's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. As for Josh Alexander, he's fully in the Don Callis family and teaming with the Young Bucks. I don't think Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express are winning here. I think they're going to start bringing the storyline to where, hey, the Young Bucks were actually, still pretty good at this whole wrestling thing. Let's have a good old win and get our, maybe start doing that storyline of giving our EVP status back, getting our, actual theme music, having our everything back to the way it used to be. One thing I don't ever get about AEW is why they have money on the line. Like, this is $1 million trios match. Like, I get it for Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, because that whole gambling thing that they were doing. But why does Kenny Omega need that? Why does Jack Perry need that? Why does, if we're sticking with kayfabe, why does a wrestling dinosaur man need $1 million? Can somebody explain that to me? Anyways, I think the Don Callis family will come out on top here, as will the Young Bucks. I'm going to go with Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks winning this trios match. Next on the card, we have Darby Allin versus Pac. What these guys did at Blood and Guts was absolutely incredible, especially the spot between Darby Allin and Pac, where Pac threw Darby Allin through, I think it was 2 flaming tables. They were, put together like that, and he plopped them right on there. Crazy, absolutely beautiful. I think Pac is gonna win against Darby Allin. Pac seems to have been in the background when it comes to Moxley's crew. So this, I think, will be him coming out as his own wrestler. It doesn't seem like Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli have an image for themselves. I mean, John Moxley does, because he's like the leader of the group. The other two guys don't, and Pac's kind of in that same thing. And plus, Darby Allin has seemed unstoppable since his return. I just think that they're going to slow down his momentum so that way we're not expecting too much from Darby moving forward. Elevate Pac, keep Darby down a little bit. I'm not saying bury him or anything, but keep him down a little bit while we elevate somebody else. I think Pac beats Darby Allin. I can't believe I'm saying that. Next on the card, in a 4-way tag team match, we have the teams of Timeless Toni Storm and Nina Shirakawa versus Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale versus Sky Blue and Julia Hart versus Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. So the stipulation for this match is that whichever team wins gets to choose the match stipulation for the semifinal round. Now, all of these women, I'm pretty sure I'm right, were all in Blood and Guts, the first ever women's Blood and Guts, and they put on a masterful performance. I'm going to go based on how Blood and Guts was booked. That will determine how this goes. So, Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa technically lost the match for the baby faces because Toni Storm couldn't watch Mina get absolutely demolished by Marina Shafir and all of them. So because of that, the baby faces lost, which would make you think that they're going to win here, but I don't think that's the case. I'm looking at how strongly booked everyone was. And now everyone was meant to look absolutely crazy, except right there at the end, like I said, when Mina Shirakawa was getting absolutely destroyed. By who? By who, you say? It was Marina Shafir when she which is a crazy spot. She steps in the glass with her bare feet and then stomps Amina's chest in. Like, that's just crazy to me. And because they've been booked so strong in that match, I think Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir are going to win here. They're going to be able to make the match stipulation for the semifinals, put it all in their favor, and then move on in this AEW Women's Tag Team Match tournament. I can't see it going any other way, because you made them look so insanely strong. If not them, then it has to be Sky Blue and Julia Hart, in my opinion, because there's just no one else that was booked as strong as either four of those women. Yeah, so Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, they're winning this little four-way match, choosing the stipulation for the semifinal for the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament. Next on the card, in a no-holds-barred match, we have Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly. Once again, I'm going to talk about Blood and Guts for just a brief moment. Kyle O'Reilly and Jon Moxley were on opposing sides in Blood and Guts, and Jon Moxley absolutely eviscerated Kyle O'Reilly's face. That, you want to talk about a crimson mask, that one is one for the ages. Now, in saying all that, Kyle O'Reilly is the one to make Jon Moxley tap out at Blood and Guts, losing Blood and Guts for the Death Riders. This is twice now that Jon Moxley, or no, 3 times actually, if you think about it, that Jon Moxley has just, he doesn't look weak, but he just keeps losing to these guys in these hardcore matches, and he just can't hang with them. First it was Adam Page, then it was Darby Allin, then it was technically Kyle O'Reilly and his entire team at Blood and Guts, which of course puts me in one of 2 camps. Jon Moxley has to win here, or else we just know every time he goes into any kind of hardcore I Quit Blood and Guts match, he's gonna lose, and lose it for his team. Or they're gonna put it in the camp of he's finally going to get his redemption for all the crap he's been put through the past few months. And it's hard to say because I already have Pac, who is a part of the Death Riders, winning. So do I say Jon Moxley wins here too, and we just call Full Gear a Death Riders victory? I'm not too sure about that. But also when I think Kyle O'Reilly, I don't think a hardcore guy at all. I think of more of a technical wrestler. The only reason he went so deep into the hardcore stuff is because it was Blood and Guts. And when you're stuck in that cage, you really don't have a choice but to just deal with all the crap that's in there. So just because I don't think Jon Moxley can afford another loss and his character still be believable and everything, I'm gonna go with Jon Moxley winning, giving the Death Riders, this is the Death Riders Full Gear. Next on the card, for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, we have champions Brodito versus FTR. I like FTR and the heel run they've been doing, but you know what I like even better? Brodito. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love the fast-paced and hard-hitting style of Brodito so much more than I do the technical ability of FTR. Now, I don't want to downplay their ability to wrestle because they are insanely good. They are just top tier, some of the best technical wrestlers we have on the planet today. But still, it's Brodito, man. You got Brody King, who's this massive dude who does things that he just shouldn't be able to do with his physical stature. He's fast, he's hard-hitting, he just throws his body around with no care in the world. And then you have the cruiserweight style of Bandito, where he's just flying and flipping around and doing all this crazy stuff, just like Brody King, but he's a smaller guy, so it's even more fast-paced than Brody King. This is me saying, I want Brodito to win. I don't want FTR to win. No offense to FTR whatsoever. You're the heels. I'm supposed to hate you. Boo, you suck. Brodito's winning here at Full Gear because I want to continue to see this team week in, week out defend these titles. Next on the card, for the AEW World Championship in a steel cage match, we have champion Hangman Adam Page versus Samoa Joe. This whole match happened because Samoa Joe and his little guys went out there and attacked Adam Page after a match. I don't know how I feel about this match. It being in a steel cage doesn't do anything when you have a no-holds-barred match, a no-DQ match also on the card. It just seems a little lackluster. Like, if this was the only thing on the card that was, I guess, a stipulation, then it would seem like it has more. But you can't do much in a cage except for throw him in the cage, throw him off the cage. Although this is Hangman Adam Page and Samoa Joe, I am expecting much more from them, given that it is just a steel cage match. And I don't know, I just have a feeling, and I had the feeling last time when I guessed that Kris Statlander was going to become the AEW Women's Champion. I have a feeling they're going to give it to Samoa Joe. Even though he's still, let me make sure, just 1 second, let me make sure. Yes, he is still AEW World Trios Champion. So this would make him AEW World Champion and part of the AEW Trios Champions alongside his partners in the Ops. I just have the feeling that they're gonna give it to Samoa Joe and that this Hangman Adam Page chapter is gonna close. I think just for a while. I think we're gonna revisit this Samoa Joe Hangman Adam Page matchup. And only because I have the feeling I'm going Samoa Joe. I could be completely wrong and Hangman Adam Page could wipe the floor with Joe, but I just have the feeling, the same feeling I had last time. Samoa Joe is going to be our new AEW World Champion. And finally, last on the card for the AEW Women's World Championship, we have champion Kris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné. Now, Mercedes Moné has won just about every single women's championship there is. I don't remember how many belts she has right now, but if I remember at Blood and Guts, I want to say it was like 8, but it could be 12 for all I know. She's holding so many championships right now that I can't even name them all. Now, the only one she's missing is the AEW World Women's Championship. Will Mercedes Moné finally run the entire gauntlet and become AEW Women's World Champion? No. The thing is she's such a great heel and she plays so well into being mocked that I feel like they're gonna want to run with her being mocked even further with her not winning this. She's won everything else, but she just cannot obtain the Women's World Championship. And not to say that it's just because of that, but I also think Kris Statlander is such just a cornerstone of the AEW women's division that they want to have her maintain this and go on a long run as AEW Women's Champion. I don't know, maybe as long as Toni Storm, but I think they want to cement her as a definite main eventer. I also feel like if Kris Statlander were to lose it here, it makes her seem much more of just a transitional champion. Like, they didn't want Mercedes Moné to beat Toni Storm, so let's have Kris Statlander beat 3 women in a fatal 4-way match. That way she can just lose it to Mercedes Moné. I don't know how I feel about that. I hope they don't do that, because that just seems, I don't know, it's like they don't believe in Kris Statlander. They believe in her enough to just let her hold on to the title for a little bit. But as soon as a great opponent in Mercedes Moné shows up, she just loses the title. I don't know, man. And so with saying all that, Mercedes Moné will not be the new AEW Women's World Champion. Kris Statlander will be our champion from this day and forward and on to the future. I don't want Mercedes Moné to win it. I don't want to see her gloating that she's got every single title in the world. I don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. Kris Statlander is remaining our AEW Women's World Champion. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to go down in the comments below. Let me know who you think's going to win each match, or if there's just one that you're interested in and want to talk about a little more, let me know down below. Let me know who's going to win, who's going to lose. Thank you again all for watching, and I will see you next time.